All off the bottom of the table and onto the floor.
Okay. And we
Your
just,
plug fell out, Rich. Don't run out of power.
and Bernard's here.
Need
Okay.
a longer extension cord, obviously.
So Judy is online, Judy Crow, and Bernard Carter is online as well.
Okay.
So we are just waiting for
Everybody, and maybe
David.
David Bowman will join
Join
us
us
online
virtually.
as well. Why don't we call the meeting to order? We have minutes from the December 11th meeting. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussions, additions, corrections, observations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I have no chairman's report, other than to say this is my last meeting as chair. This has been a very special time in the history of Kent County, and I'm happy to have been in this position with a remarkable group of people who have given us input, guidance, and criticism where necessary. So it's been necessary from time to time, but thank you. This has been a pleasure for me. As you know, I had a 32-year career in economic development and managed 3 different counties. But coming back to my home county and having a volunteer role here is extra special. And thank you all for the opportunity. I'm not going away. I just passed the gavel, and I'll be on for another 3 months. So, and then go off in April.
And I just want to take this opportunity to say, even before Dick joined the commission, while he was still actively working, and I took over economic development, he was one of the first people that I was introduced to as a mentor. So I appreciate all the guidance you've given, and he's a past president of MEDA, as well as a Hall of Fame for MEDA. So we were truly blessed, and are blessed, and continue to be blessed to have Dick be a part of the commission and be so active in Kent County in general, because I know you do a lot of other things as well. So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Dick, thanks for your service.
Thank you. Tonight, I serve my last meeting as secretary of the Betterton Volunteer Fire Company. So I have all kinds of times to listen in to commission meetings and offer guidance as necessary. I see David's online. Yep. So we're in good shape.
Good afternoon.
We have a full house. Welcome, David. Mr. Carter, are you online?
Yes, I am, and good afternoon to everyone.
We have you next on our agenda, so give us your report, please.
Oh, I was not expecting to be in such a meeting of the sort, but I'm happy that you've invited me. Thank you for taking the time. How familiar is everyone with Maryland Capital Enterprises here in Wycomico County?
None. Not at all.
None at all. Okay.
And from the staff, very.
I've been friends with David Ryan for 30 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we are under the leadership now of Maurice Ames, who has been the director, I would say now for a little over 7 years. And it was an organization that was founded 26 years ago. Actually, my sister, Lori Carter, was one of the founding members. And when you talk about economic development, she was the director of economic rural development for Wycomico County for 37 years, not in that position for 37 years, but she worked for the county for that long, and she's just retired this past December. So I'm very familiar based on having a sibling in the economic development world. But Maryland Capital Enterprises is a nonprofit organization that specifically lends to, we're a microlender. We don't lend anything above, I'd say, $100,000 to $150,000 in that realm, and we service specifically women and persons of color. But we've also gone out outside of those parameters as well, because we have various funds that we need to issue, to individuals that have challenges, that may have challenges where they go through the traditional banking realm. We have everything for what we call credit builders that ranges from $2,500 up to, again, $100,000 to $150,000. We assist the local communities, of course, but in the same token, we service all of the counties on the Eastern Shore, as well as Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. And businesses categorically, it's pretty much broad and open. Anyone who pretty much has an idea business-wise for a startup, we will take a look at, as well as those that have been in business for a period of time that needs capital for the expansion of their businesses. We also have something which is called the Women's Business Center, which is led by a young woman by the name of Lisa Twilley, that assists women who are looking to diversify themselves from the traditional means of the workforce and wanting, again, to start their own businesses. And we offer services complimentary in the realm of anyone who needs what's called a business plan note or executive summary put together, which will consist, of course, as you know, putting together their cash flow and projections for 2 to 5 years, also assisting them with their profit and loss, but yet, all in all, assisting them from the initial stage of how do I do this all the way through the stages of getting, funded. Again, we have been around for a long period of time, and we are here to assist and also take a look at any particular individual who is in need of funding. When we say we don't go through the traditional realms of a traditional financial institution such as a bank, we are not one where you just come in and apply, and then there's like any type of applying for credit where there's an algorithm that takes your social security number and then all of a sudden spits out an answer. We look at the total picture based upon where the individual is, from their credit all the way through to where they are financially. We just don't make a decision just because of how one's credit may or may not look, because we are here wanting to upbuild the community based upon, entrepreneurship, and, making this, each community a better place, where we also assist with creating jobs, in that format as well of assisting an entrepreneur. So that's a part of our mantra, and mainly, especially because we want to, of course, continue to grow the entrepreneurial spirit, as well as grow, the business mindset, throughout communities in the areas that we serve geographically. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much who Maryland Capital Enterprises is and what we do. And we have capital that we need to get out. So if you've got individuals that are looking for, or have even been through the traditional means, going through a banking institution, and they've not been able to get funded, we'd like to talk to those individuals and seeing if we can be the alternative, in that realm.
Mr. Carter, does a recipient of your financing need to be a startup, or it could be an existing company looking to expand?
It can be both. It can be a startup that's right out the gate, or it could be, someone that has been in business and established for a period of time. Now, when it does, though, come to a startup, normally our practices have been where we only lend up to $35,000. Now, when it comes to an existing entity, and we like to have that existing entity, it's not a requirement, but we'd like to see at least where they've got a minimum of 12 months of being in business. So, we've got, some financials to at least take a look at over that year to see how they run and operate, a business itself.
Can you give us an example or two of companies you've helped in Kent County?
At this particular time, I've only been with the organization for 2 years. I am not aware of which, but I'm pretty sure that we have, but I'm not aware of any company that we have assisted in funding thus far. Now, we have gotten individuals who have, approached us in that regard. I have personally. Unfortunately, though, the thing that has taken place is, and which we do have, and it's not because of geographics or whatever, it's just the individual. Sometimes we have a challenge with individuals taking and going on with follow through. That has been the challenge, sometimes that we do face, because sometimes they feel, loan recipients feel as though that, if they don't have everything together as they may, when they go to our website, marylandcapital.org, they see the list and criteria that they have, they become skittish because they all of a sudden get the mindset that we, again, are like a traditional bank. But we are here to service and help anyone, regardless of the category of business that they may be looking to go into or that they are already in. So when you even ask for an example, business-wise, it's open. As long as we can look at how they can monetize what they're looking to do, we are able to take a close look at and be able to, hopefully assist them in that regard.
So Bernard, I'll share one example that Maryland Capital Enterprises Confidence Beauty Lounge. When she first opened, she needed a washer and dryer. So it was a microloan, but she was able to get that funded through MCE. So that was one. I know that we've had other people start the process but maybe not necessarily follow through, because everybody has an idea, but business plan and financial projections take some time and effort, and not everybody is aware that they're going to have to put that into it to be able to get access to capital. So they don't necessarily do the follow through, as Bernard was saying. Katie and I.
And if I may interrupt you and interject,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry for this. And that's what we also like to do events and be in front of individuals to let them know that do not be skittish or standoffish in that regards, because we're here to assist based upon offering those services complimentary. So if they don't know how even to put a plan of sorts, whether it be an executive summary and or business plan together, we're here to offer those services, and we offer those services complimentary. There is no charge to them in regards to doing that. And based upon we put a template on our website in regards to a business plan. And that business plan template is very leading. And when I say it's very leading, it's like a Q&A. We ask the questions, and all we are, in regards to asking the questions, we want the loan recipient to just answer them to the best of their ability. And for what they can answer, we just say, hey, if you can't answer, just put non-applicable. But yet then we still come back and have another conversation with them where we can, make them feel more comfortable, where then we give them the whole thought process of thinking of that answer, being able to facilitate putting it based upon what needs to be in the business plan. So when people think that they may not have everything together, we navigate them through the process to get them even with a look, so to speak, on paper.
We have questions from members of the commission.
So I'm
Judy.
wondering if you do any follow-up with the loan recipients after they get the money? Is there a support system?
We do a what is called a 6-month review, and we actually go down wherever their business may be. We go and make sure everything is still running in operation, and we also do a 3-month follow-up call after they obtain the funds, if they're approved, based upon just to see how everything's going, because we want to keep in touch with them and making sure their business is running effectively and efficiently. Because of course, we don't want them to go out of business, because then in turn, even though we may be a nonprofit lending organization, we still need to get that money back. We're, very based upon the fact that it's a loan that in turn, they're responsible for. And we also make them aware of the fact that even though at times we have recipients who may not even get a loan, they just want the services to be able to get an understanding of how to put the executive summary, business plan, and everything they need, finances, the financial aspects on paper, how to do that. So with that, being said, and when they do go and get the loan, we are there with them through the entire process. And then once, they are awarded, being, funded, then we as well still follow their business through to make sure everything is running smoothly. So it's not just a, one and done, so to speak, type of situation. We keep abreast of what's happening and what's going on with them.
Thank you.
Bernard, I have a couple of questions. First, I'm curious as to where your funding comes from. and what the terms of the loans typically are. Is there interest? Is there a specific term? And does the money go back into a revolving fund when it's paid? Just how does that funding end of your business work?
Okay. We have one area, and good question. Thank you for that. One area we do get our capital from is VLT, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but the video lottery terminal. We're awarded at least $1 million annually in that regards through a process. Well, not annually, I take that back, excuse me. We get $1 million that it can be encompassed anywhere from a 2 to 5 year grant. So we get funding in that regards. We also have a relationship and close ties with the SBA. As you know, MCE is we're a certified SBA micro organization, so we get funding in that regards, as well as in regards to the USDA, United States Department of Ag. And I don't know how familiar you are with their programs. They've got something which is called the BNI program, which is the Business and Industry Loan Program, where they are that part of their organization works with us, as well as other organizations, traditional banking as well. But we have a relationship with them where they also come in and they are a loan guarantor, which is somewhat similar to the SBA. So if, say, for instance, an individual comes in, an entrepreneur comes in and they need funding, but they may not look great on paper when it comes to their credit side. We assess the whole package again. And it's, as long as all is in place with them, with their numbers and what they are projecting, what their profit and loss, may look like and everything to that end. If the USDA is also on board with us, they will be a guarantor or potentially be a guarantor for that loan. So we have various areas of where our funding comes from, to that end. We are an organization where when they initially started, they were giving out, loans that ranged only from $500 to $1,000. Now we give up to a total of about $150,000. And then on top of that, based upon the funding that we receive, it's now at a level of about $4.2 million. So we have a great deal of capital that, that we need to expend, that we need to lend out on an annual basis. So if you've got, of course, which I'm sure you do, loan recipients, entrepreneurs in your area that are looking for capital, we are here to hopefully be able to facilitate those needs.
Do you get referrals from local commercial banks, community banks?
Yes, actually we do. And those local banks give us referrals based upon if they categorically are not vast lenders in certain areas categorically, which we do find a couple of those, one being in the restaurant hospitality industry, and then the other being in the trucking and transportation industry. We do get referrals from them in that regard. And then there are times we just get referrals if everything does not wash for them on paper. And with the bank, again, majority of the time, it comes down to a person's credit, and sometimes it may come down, to the person's, having or not having assets that may collateralize their loan, for which will make the bank feel more comfortable.
Mr. Athey, you had a
We're
question.
not as stringent. We're not as stringent as a traditional lender in that regard.
Mr. Carter, do applicants have to travel to you, or do you regularly visit counties, or how does that work?
I regularly now visit counties. And again, thank you for asking that question. I right now have a good relationship with everybody that I work with, but Dorchester County and Talbot County, I actually go and speak once a month to their chambers. And with that, they also send out advertisement and a flyer each month. And once they send it out to their mailing list of individuals, and I get persons who email me and or call me to schedule times to meet with them during that day that I'm with those particular counties and chambers. I can do the same, for any particular county here on the Western Shore. I mean, on the Eastern Shore. When I say the Western Shore, we also have a Baltimore City office and director there, who does exactly what I do.
Do we have a person designated as contact for Kent County?
Jamie is actually my contact
So it's
currently.
Mr. Carter at MCE. Yep.
Oh, yes, I'm the person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and,
But I can offer those same services, to Kent County as well.
yeah, we were
So if
talking
you
about that
know,
yesterday, how to best to coordinate that. Like, he can come up for a half a day, but I don't want him to come up a half a day and sit at hot desk and have no one show up. So how do we get people to register ahead of time and stuff? So we're going to work out those logistics. Bernard, the one thing that Katie and I do when we get someone, when we send a referral, the first thing we do is send them to the website. They have to fill out a form. Can you explain that to the rest of the commission as well?
yes, in the loan application process, there's 3 tiers of going through that electronically from our website. Again, it's marylandcapital.org. We have the initial, which is called the client intake form. And once you click on that link, the client intake form is pretty much basically what it states. It's an intake of your basic information. So we get to know on the surface who the individual is. Again, their name, address, phone number, if they've ever been in business before, what relationships do they have tied to the county, and what they're looking to do. And a little educational background, and we just get to know them on the surface. That's the client intake form. Once they fill out that form online, it then in turn goes into a queue based upon it being reviewed by what we have our loan processor. The loan processor then in turn creates a file of that individual, and then that file is then in turn sent to me directly or to one other senior loan officer in our organization. But the majority of the time, they all come to me. And then once I receive that, I then in turn give them a call, based upon the designated time, scheduling time that they also list on that client intake form. And then once I have made that call and we have a conversation on the surface, I get to know them. I get to know their creativity and idea of what they're looking to do business-wise, and or what they are wanting to do for the expansion of their business, whichever being the case. And then after that, and they still feel comfortable in reference to moving forward. When I say still feeling comfortable, because sometimes we get individuals who are just on a somewhat fact-finding mission, so to speak. But if they are beyond that and they are ready to go to the next steps, then there's 2 other e-forms that they have to then review and fill out. One being called a personal information supplement, and the other being the actual business loan application. And that personal information supplement is exactly what it's entitled. We get more personal information, but it's a supplement prior to the actual business loan application. And that personal information supplement, we get then the financial information of where the persons may be based upon finding out, do they bank? Do they put their monies in the bank? How much, where are they in that regards? What their financial history looks like and their current situation in that regards. And then in turn, once they finish all of that, then it goes to the business loan application. That business loan application is where, it's 100% serious. It's on there. They know the purpose and what they're looking for, the amount that they're looking for. And we ask for, everything from bank statements all the way through to their business plan, excuse me. And they upload those things to our website. And then once those things are uploaded, we then in turn pull them off. We review them, digest them, and then we continue to go through the process and get everything that we need. And it's pretty much similar to a traditional banking format, but we are walking through the process and navigating them through the process, hand in hand. They're not left out on their own, in that regard. Not saying that a traditional lending source would do that, but 9 times out of 10, we talk to them, more so than anything, and navigate them through the entire process. It's a lot of hand holding and a lot of conversations, making sure that, all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And then once, they do that, we then in turn also then have a loan committee that we then in turn have to present the actual loan requests to. So it's not definitively decision made here within the offices. Being that we're a nonprofit organization, we have, a separate loan committee who is made up of civic leaders, bankers, and business owners, within the community. And it ranges anywhere from 8 to 12 individuals who come together, and we, myself, and a couple of other individuals package each loan, and then we present them to that loan committee, and then they make the determination of approval, not approval, and or criteria. If it is approved, if they may have like an extra criteria of sorts, for the loan to actually get its 100% yes.
Mr. Carter, does MCE have standard loan terms? I mean, what can prospective borrowers expect in terms of interest rate, collateral, term, repayment requirements, when they start?
Now I'm gonna say I'll go get traditional banking mindset on you. It's competitive, like everybody else would say. But we range anywhere on the what I would say low end of 6% up to 12% plus. It's according on how that individual at the time looks on paper. So definitively, I can't say that it's going to be this particular percentage, even in a very close proximity of range, and it can range anywhere from 2 years minimum term of payback up to 10 years. It's according on the scope and size of the loan.
So I'm curious, how many loans do you do a year, and do you measure like success rate or default rate, whichever side you want to look at it?
We've done, oh my goodness, this past year alone, past 2024, I want to say we do anywhere from, because the loan committee, and just to give you a little bit of more information, the loan committees, again, only meet once a month at the end of each month. So it ranges per meeting. And we have 2 loan committees a month because Baltimore City County and Anne Arundel County have their own separate loan committee as well. So it ranges could be anywhere from 50 to 150 annually. It's according on, loans annually, that is, in regards to, what we get each month, because we get a lot of referrals. We are out looking for loans, but yet in the same token, a lot of our loans that we do, express are through and by referrals. I'd say probably 90% of them are referred in regards to coming to us, looking for a loan. But then we also are out, off advertising and marketing our services, because we have various events, throughout the year. We have at least 7 to 10 events almost a year. We have, women and diversity events coming up. Our year is really going to be with a lot of different situations that happen. We do various types of from civic all the way through to financial and events throughout the year. So based upon that number, that 50, it could range at a minimum of 50 up to 150. I'd say almost 200. It may not sound like a lot in some respects, but we do disperse and get out a great deal of capital each year.
I'm curious why we don't have dozens over time, if not hundreds, of loans completed in Kent County to our businesses. Is there a barrier that we're not aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that's
General follow-through.
Your associates and colleagues that's in the room with you.
It's general follow-through is what we've noticed on our end. We get referrals and we send them to Bernard, and some of them don't even fill out the intake form.
Exactly.
So it's like you can lead them to it, but you can't make them do the work. So it's just a general lack of follow-through, or they fill out the intake form and then they don't get the business plan completed. There's many different opportunities like that. So
It's kind of a self-selection, though, because they can't do a business plan. then
Good, very good point, Judy,
they're
yes.
not, they're not ready
Yep.
for a loan.
Correct. Yep.
Right,
I
exactly.
would agree.
Exactly.
Yep. So it's kind of
And
like
we
a
do,
weeding
again,
out
we offer the
process.
services complimentary, and we do our best in reference to letting them know that we're approachable, and what you're looking and what they're looking to do is not a challenge or cumbersome. Yeah, you may have challenges and it takes work, but I always state, and whenever I do any type of engagement, speaking engagement, whatever it will be, I ask, the potential loan recipients, how bad do you want it? And sir, when you ask that question, that's what it actually even comes down to. How bad do they want it? And again, it comes through with that follow through on their part, because we're here to assist, and to offer our services and, be able to, get them to where they need to be. Even if they say, for instance, may not even get approved. We've had situations where loan recipients did not get approved. But what we did was we assisted them to prepare them for the next go round, because, we still have the mindset and want them to be successful entrepreneurs, successful future business owners. So I respect what you've asked, but in the same token, it comes down to the individual.
Any other questions from commission members?
I just want to add one thing, because when we think of MCE and the Women Business Center, obviously there is the mentoring and coaching side that Bernard talked about, the capital side, but the other big component for us is training. They offer lots of training for free, webinars, lots of information that's helpful to a startup or an entrepreneur on their website. So that's another thing that we use. A lot of their materials from MCE, and we try to push out those trainings to our businesses. I do want to see if there is anything that Katie wants to add, because it is Katie and myself that usually deal with, somebody who wants to start a business, and we try to get them to the right person and the right fit. Anything you want to add, Katie, or?
No, I think Bernard did a great job.
Thank you.
On the overview of it. But yeah, we have referred a lot of people within Kent County to them, but like Jamie and Judy said, like sometimes people just aren't ready. Sometimes too, it's people are coming to us looking for funding and they're hoping it's a grant. And so
Yeah.
once it turns to, oh, there's loan programs available, they kind of shy back from that too. So, and again, it all comes down to if they're truly ready or intentional about borrowing funds.
Yep. And I'm sorry, I should have asked you to come up, but you don't have to. So, but next time we'll remember. We'll try to remember.
That raises a question of, and Bernard, you can probably answer this, how many of your loan recipients are actually established businesses versus startups? And how many of the startups, what's your success rate on the startups?
I don't have the exact number in regards to that, but I can tell you right now, at an approximate guesstimate, I would say as of startups, I would say about 35 to 40% are startups, and that may be it may be up to about 45%. And then, the remaining is those that have been in business or had a business and they went on hiatus, so to speak, for 6 months to 24 months and then got back with their business again. But I would say at least up to 45% are startups.
And of those, how many, in your view, succeed and stay in business for over a year? Actually, for over 2 years.
I would say somewhere between 50 to 55%.
Okay, that's typical. I'm not surprised.
That was my question.
And in regards to that number, and we do our best to educate, it may not seem like it's a high success number and it's at the even keel, 50% level. But one of the things that the challenge is that for some odd reason, entrepreneurs and loan recipients have is not asking enough for sustainability of their business, because they get, they'll get past the stage fright of the executive summary, business plan, and going through all of that process. And then there are also at times we found that there's a mindset of, well, how much do I qualify for is a question that comes up. And what I did and try to do in mentor and training is when you walk into any establishment, financial institution, know what you're looking for, know what you're going to ask for, know what it's going to take to make your business happen.
Right.
Because I've also seen on our end of loan denial, because of the fact they come in not knowing exactly what they want, even when we've tried to, and done our best in regards to educating them.
Sometimes
It's a lot that goes into the whole aspects of Business 101 and getting them the full understanding of how it works. And
sometimes,
once we can accomplish that, it'll be a much higher success rate of them staying in, in their, being in business.
yeah, sometimes what they want and what they need are two different things.
Two different things,
So,
exactly.
Part of the education. Final questions?
No, thank you. That was really helpful.
Mr. Carter, thank you for your presentation today. I think we've all learned a lot, and we'll task Jamie, Katie, and Shalyn with much more work.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come in and be a part. It's much appreciated. We look to be able to facilitate and present to you again in person.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Be safe out there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Staff reports.
Oh, can I say this? Was he at Start One Up?
He was.
I thought so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He.
I said, when I saw him there, I was like, we got to get this guy.
Did Bernard make it, or was it his?
Lori, who was
Lori
was
One of them
there,
was.
One of our judges.
Lori, yeah.
One of the judges.
I don't think-
And then they did a panel with.
Nick
oh,
Rudolph came. Remember, Bernard couldn't come, Nick Rudolph came. Yeah, because
Okay.
he wasn't in the
Yeah,
area.
but I remember the organization from
Yeah,
that.
so the
yeah.
guy came from the Annapolis, that was who was actually
Yeah,
came
yeah,
and presented.
yeah, okay,
So,
thanks.
yeah, and they've been great, like anytime we have an event and we ask for, like our resource partners to be there, MCE has always shown up, so
That's good.
they're great to work with.
I'd looked them up, and they have a large staff. There's maybe 10 people on their staff.
Yeah, they're very helpful.
Good. Staff reports.
So a couple things I just wanted to mention and talk about. One of the things that was in one of my weekly reports was the the governor of Maryland's initiative for beer and wine in grocery stores. Don't know if that'll come up for us to talk about. All the reports that I've read so far, the governor came out as it being an initiative of his. But what I'm hearing from Annapolis, there's no appetite in Annapolis to advance that any further.
That's
I heard that
So-
too.
dead on arrival for
I was going to say,
decades.
and there's no draft legislation or anything like that out there as of yet, so I'll keep an eye on that and inform you if we do see anything, because I do think we'll get a lot of interest from our current licensed establishments, and they may ask us to take a position on that. Or at least, not take a position, make a recommendation to the county commissioners on that for a position. The better way of saying
I
it.
hope it dies.
So,
It's a tricky one.
yeah. I did want to mention the Bayways program. This is an exciting opportunity for Betterton, Rock Hall, and Chestertown, but I can tell you that it has taken an exorbitant amount of staff time, having 3 teams being from Kent County. We're going to make it work. We will have 3, myself, Rose, and Shalyn will be in Annapolis for 3 days, each with a different team, doing these evaluations. But the nice thing about these evaluations, they can be used for 2 things. I mean, there's 3 real positives. One is you get to spend time with those people and really learn how to work together and partner with the people that are a part of that team. But the other 2 bigger things, I think, is going through this process will allow Chestertown, Betterton, or Rock Hall to define some of those initiatives that they really want to work towards when it comes to visitation from the water, and be able to use that study and that work to support grant applications when they go after those initiatives. In addition, like the National Park Service, Preservation Maryland, will be doing presentations about programs that they offer that we may not have been exposed to. So we'll be exposed to more programs that might be of benefit to Kent County. So I just wanted to share that. Next week, I'll be in Annapolis for 3 days, and then the following week, Rose and Challen will be in Annapolis. So while it's been a lot of work, I do think it has a lot of benefits. It has been hard to pull people together and get them to spend the time on the evaluation and the inventories and everything, but I think in the end, it'll be well worth it.
Now, who is sponsoring this?
So it started, so the National Park Service is part of it. Visit Annapolis is a big partner. They got a USDA grant. So the USDA grant is paying for this. Bayway's destination assessment, and it kind of talks, and even though it's connected to the passenger ferry, doesn't have to be, because it could also be just people visiting by water, say on their own boats or whatever it might be. And what amenities do you have? What do you have that's good, solid, people will come here to visit? What do you have that's kind of needs some help? And then what do you need to create? Restrooms might be like in Rock Hall. You might need restrooms close, there's restrooms at the bulkhead, so that's not a good example, but you kind of know what, or benches, or, whatever those are. So it's an assessment of the inventory of what each location has and what they need to build on. Yes.
I think that's an excellent exercise. And how many from each town are working on it? Do you have a general team size? Or
We do. 5, they wanted 5 to 7 people on each team. I think Chestertown now has 4 or 5. That was there. 5, I got 5. I know, I've kind of lost track.
Betterton has
6,
6, and I think
Rock Hall.
is 6.
6. There you go. Yeah.
So that's the team you were talking about, or will you meet with folks over there, a team?
Well, we'll meet with other people as well. There will be, one of the things they said when they put us with our group, there will be somebody from the outside that comes in and looks at your community as well, which is really nice. And we've done the assessments. We need to get together as a team again. I think all 3 teams need to get together one more time. We need to create like a 5-slide PowerPoint of the area that we're covering, and then as a team and with that outside perspective, how do we build on that, and how do we take those things away and utilize them to help grow water tourism?
So what are they going to decide, like this, the funding group, I guess, is going to pick X number of places that
No, this isn't like, you don't get any funding for this. This is a workshop to kind of do these evaluations.
and then,
They expose you to other organizations that might have funding.
Right.
But then would be on each individual location to go after that funding.
I see. And so like the
For these
ferry
projects.
really, how would it relate to the ferry stops?
So that's why I say it's related, but it's not.
Right.
So the ferry feasibility study is its own separate thing.
Oh, okay.
But they realized we need this assessment of these locations. So it could be, and just as an example, that the ferry feasibility says we're going to do Rock Hall only. I'm just making something up.
Yeah, I understand.
We're going to do Rock Hall only, but yet then we have those
Got
pieces
that.
in for better, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know
So-
how the ferry tied in, and then what
Yeah.
happens after the ferry picks
Right.
that
Yeah.
location. And then once the ferry picks a location, is it still up to that location to find the funding to get everything?
Absolutely,
So
yep,
the ferry doesn't bring you anything but maybe some people.
correct,
Your
yes.
teams finish up their work, and then you each come back to your respective community.
Yep.
And say, we've done this, here's what we think, what can you do to support this?
Here's how it rated,
The way it
yep.
works?
Go for it.
Go
Yep.
for it, okay.
And are the town managers from all those towns on your committees?
All the town managers were invited, and let me think, yes. Yes, they are on all of our teams, yes. Yeah, it got a little unwieldy, like I said, just, who can attend, who can't attend. A lot of people are participating just virtually, so there might be 4 of us going to Annapolis, but there's 2 or 3 other people on the team that are still doing the scoring and the inventories, and we're meeting with, because some people just couldn't devote 3 days. But they're still a very important component of it, so they're still involved, and we still meet with them.
Good.
Yeah. Katie's going to Annapolis tomorrow for the META Winter Conference. It's the 2025 Legislative Outlook for Economic Development. So we'll get some more information about that tomorrow, or after tomorrow. And that is all I have, unless there are any questions from weekly reports.
I can say I've been to that legislative session numerous times, I think with Paula last year.
Yes.
And it's always a good session. We learn so much about what's important to other communities and the state,
Yes.
and the governor and his agenda.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we got to meet a lot of the new people at that time
Right.
who were coming on board to fill various roles
Yeah.
in the state. So it's a good conference.
There's nothing this year related to the legislature session is going to be fun. It's just,
Starting with the budget,
really, that's all it is.
yeah. Okay, we are up to unfinished business, and the major piece of unfinished business is our requirement each January to elect new officers as necessary. Everybody has a ballot. My understanding is David and Judy Crow have sent their ballots to Rose, so our secret ballot process is intact. So I would encourage commission members to make your decision now.
Dick, you had mentioned that you wanted, that it would be good to hear from the candidates for vice chair as to why they want to serve. Do we want to do that? So
Yes,
that
I'm sorry, I'm rushing.
That's okay, that's okay. You had
You've
mentioned
already
it, so.
voted?
so-
It's kind of a moot point.
Well,
Paula can go first.
Paula, do you want to go first?
I'm second on the list, so I thought we'd hear from Judy first, but I don't mind going first.
Okay, we don't want to hear from anybody.
No. I would like to serve as vice chair to continue my current participation in this commission. As background, and the reason why I think I'm qualified to be the vice chair is I've been here for 34 years as a small business owner, as a realtor, as a member of the planning commission, as a member of this commission, served in a variety of different roles. I love this county, and I want to see it succeed, and I want to direct my efforts to achieve that goal. I come with, I think, some fairly strong qualifications. With Dick's help, I finished I got a scholarship too, and finished the Bay Area Economic Development course this summer. I sit on the Maryland Economic Development, Maryland Planning Commission Citizens Advisory Board. I have a background in public finance, in real estate, in finance, and I speak to a lot of people in my capacity as a realtor here in the community and feel like I do have my finger on the pulse of the community as a result. So I would, in brief, say I hope you will support my candidacy. Thank you.
Funny, Paul, I've been here 33 years too. So I hadn't even thought about how long. I always keep, the years add up. But, so I'm an action person, not a meeting person. So I think what we do is as important as what courses we've taken and I'm clearly the underdog in this race. I'm an outsider, and Dick at our first meeting called me a disruptor. And I'm not sure you meant that as a compliment, but I believe that it is. And on our farm, we practice what's called adaptive grazing, which means that we mix things up rather than do the same things all the time. And adaptive stewardship has 3 rules. The rule of compounding, there are no singular events. The rule of diversity, that nature never creates a monoculture and that greater diversity has better outcomes. And the rule of disruption, which says that nothing stays the same in nature and nothing is static, and nature introduces disruption to build strength and resiliency into a system. And prescriptions, formulas, recipes do not work over the long term and prevent progress and decrease profits, which is the same principles apply to organizations. And I'd just like to say that in the past 18 months, I've been very active on the board, not just going to meetings, and I mean, little things from art on the wall, thank you, Rose, I think that's great, to most of the suggestions for speakers. I've promoted the micro ag grant at farmers markets and the harvest breakfast. I've pressed for the year-end report based on the strategic plan. I've resurrected the business survey, advocated for in-depth meeting with Delmarva Data, suggested changes to the agenda format, stimulated discussion on consequences and building capacity, and proposed a tourism working group, which Dick opposes. And then I have also attended conferences. I met with the superintendent when she came on. I went to the Start One Up. I'm involved in the community. You've seen me at the farmers market. Everybody knows me there. And one thing I'd like to do is focus on improving or 3 things I'd like to do is focus on improving the professionalism of the commission, actions and activities by members, and a plan for accomplishing these goals. And with regard for professionalizing the board, I would like to propose that we have a formal orientation process and a packet for new members. And that would include review of the strategic plan and the county code on the commission, recent agendas and updates of any current projects that we have going, the data story, such as the data story and the business survey. I think we should consistently put out a press release. I know it's spotty, but, you know, we need to show our face in the county and show that we're active. And I think we should standardize the introduction at the first meeting. Sometimes people get to give their bio, other times it was not asked for. And so I think we ought to have some consistency. And to further professional development of all members, I think we should distribute a calendar of upcoming meetings and conferences to all members. Sometimes we hear somebody went to a conference, we never knew about it. I think we should all have equal access, and not just because you know somebody or are in an office at the same time that someone mentions it. So I think that should be consistent. And I think we should discuss the benefits of the Meta membership and talk more about that. Most of us are not involved in that unless we do it on our own. And I think we should expect a report to the commission with ideas or information if someone goes to a conference, and not just say, I went. I think we should hear and get benefit from that, and people should go to those conferences expecting to bring something back to improve the commission. And I think we should schedule a closed session meeting for members to review the department budget. I know you met with Dick and me, and that was really helpful. And we can have closed session meetings for the whole board to hear about it at once and not have it just be between, you know, certain people. And then with regards to activities on the commission, I would like to see us organize and facilitate a business entrepreneur training program, and that might tie into some of the loose ends we have going on here, or make it, you know, just another outlet to attract people. And other counties have been doing that multiple times, and Sam Shogi actually does the one for Chestertown, is what he told me. I think we should host events celebrating the business community and try to get our name out there and do some fun things and just like appreciate who we have here in the county and the great things they're doing. It could be a 10-year anniversary, or invite businesses who have been here for 10 years or whatever. We have a lot of options for that. I think in tying in with what Bernard said, design and promote a speaker series for the business community, promote agritourism. I think we need to find grant money. Review and update the strategic plan. We need to get the data story done, and I'd like to see the surveys that we did, the business surveys, and just look at those. Research housing inventory and projections, develop metrics for measuring the health of the economy, work with other organizations to improve the economic situation for all of Kent County citizens. That the board, this is not against it, this is all things that the board can do. And use the meetings as a platform to inform citizens, say as we go through the budget process in Annapolis. And then build capacity by reaching out to citizens and the business community. And to accomplish these, I would propose that we have 4 subcommittees within the board. And one would be on tourism, one would be housing, one would be economic development metrics, and the other would be community outreach and engagement. And so we could dig into each of these topics during the meetings instead of always having a speaker, and kind of flesh out actual ideas and proposals. And the business model, the innovative business model that was described as the Rural Maryland Conference kind of sums it up, is gather your crowd, build connections, and make small steps. And so I know most of you have already voted or committed to vote for somebody before I made this presentation, but put a lot of time into it. So I thought, well, let's just let it roll.
Good. I'm going to ask Charlie to speak too, but I want to thank both Judy and Paula for your interest, your involvement, your enthusiasm. You've been great commission members, and regardless of the outcome of the vote, I'm looking forward to you continuing your engagement, involvement, and commitment to this board, this commission, and this county. So, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I see you at the Retriever, too.
So my best thinking is done at the Retriever. They have a new chef, by the way.
Charlie,
Okay,
please.
sure. Oh, I look forward to continuing Dick's work and, prioritizing or assessing what everyone's collective priorities are for the year. Maybe a shortened list of great ideas shared by both of you, but just thinking about maybe the top 3 to 5 that collectively we could agree on as a group and staff, and maybe identifying some of those things and carrying those themes through with maybe speakers or brainstorming sessions that echo that. So that's kind of it.
Good.
Yeah, look forward
Are-
to serving if you'll vote for me.
Thank you, everybody, for your interest. Sandy, are you running for anything? Sandy and I will go off the board in April, but
Yeah, and actually, so I'm sorry, Dick, if everyone wants to do their ballots and give those to Rose, or
I won't
Rose will
look.
come collect those, that's great. And I'll go on to the new business, because I did want to talk about the vacancies, Dick, so that's
Yep.
perfect timing.
Yep.
We've got 2 vacancies coming up. One will be Sandy Scott, and Sandy filled 2 full terms, so she is not eligible for reappointment this time. We really are looking for representation throughout the county. We do have at least one letter of, or interest form from someone in Rock Hall, but we're looking for more, because when we do get to the point where we start looking through those and I start calling to see if people are still interested and can they still serve, that person may come off, I don't know. So again, I'm inviting people to ask for interest forms to be completed and sent in so that we can consider them when we get to that point. And then Charlie's is up for reappointment. So I'm hoping that you will be able to,
You can't back out.
and will be willing to get
Well.
me reappointed.
Since you ask.
we haven't counted the vote.
So, yeah. So just be thinking about interest forms and who else we'd like to get interest forms from, and looking for diversity of all kinds, industry-wise, areas of the county, all those
Skill
things.
sets.
All of it, yes, exactly. So,
Least important is gender, but we'd like to still have a balance.
You need more men, ha, ha, ha. That's rare.
3 out of 7
Right.
isn't bad.
You have Jimmy Gone,
That's kind of
like
funny,
with a
actually.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you again for the opportunity to serve, and as we go forward, unlike Jim Luck and Aaron Bramble before me,
Yeah.
I'm going to make an effort to attend these meetings, probably in person, and be a disruptor.
Excellent.
well,
I
Dick,
taught you something.
you are actually still on the board as a member until May of 2026.
Am I really?
Unless you want, I mean, and we can talk about it.
No, I
If you
I
want,
thought I was
You're
going off.
stuck.
no, you're not going off, you're just going off as chair.
Okay.
So, but, we can talk about it and decide what you want to do.
Let's get another ballot.
Yeah, so, well, we don't have, that's a personal decision, whether you want to continue to serve or not. If you do feel that it's time that you want to come off, or,
Oh.
okay, then you can serve until 2026 to complete your second term.
There you go.
All right.
Not so
Yeah,
fast.
I thought you were trying to get away pretty quick
We're
there,
going to have a full Wednesday after all.
so,
If I can add to the confusion, I'm here.
thank you.
Okay, Rose, do you have results? Any numbers, just
I do.
for chair?
Charlie was confirmed as
you.
the chair, and Paula was voted as the vice chair.
Okay. Congratulations to everybody. So we go forward.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
bada bing.
So, the next thing was the agenda for that's okay, the
I have a meeting
February.
tonight, that's why I'm in a
The
hurry.
February meeting, mine will be quick. The February meeting, Aaron is coming back to talk about the Delmarva Index and the data that relates directly to Kent County. She couldn't make today's meeting.
Who's coming back?
Erin Erin Silva from the Eastern Shore GIS, yep. And she'll talk about data directly related to Kent County. Right now, I've got 2 people that I'm waiting for responses on, again, holidays, vacations, and the snow. I didn't get a lot of responses from people, so I'm waiting for 2 responses there. And then we do have 2 speakers for March, so I'm hoping, and so one of these will have to be pulled from February. We don't want 3 speakers. But Susan O'Neill will be, from the Upper Shore Regional Council, we'll be talking about the business mentoring program and the CTE liaison and coordinator position, as well as Cindy Genthert will give the 2024 real estate review for us in March. So I'll keep you guys posted.
And remembering some of Judy's points, we should reserve time to not have a speaker and speak among ourselves to specific focus items.
Whenever you guys want to do that, you
Right.
tell me when you want me not to
Right.
schedule someone.
Yeah, I
Because
think
we've had this
you
discussion before.
circulate
So.
your recommendations. I think that's a good thing, too.
Thank you, and I'll bring them up as needed.
Okay. I think it would be useful for us to have them up for review and to share.
I'll think about that.
Okay.
Public comments and announcements. Everybody behind you guys.
Public. Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? Second?
So moved.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.